Welcome to episode 26 of the Learn podcast, where first you learn, then you drop the L, and then you earn. I'm your host, Dean the Wealth Coach, and today's concept is all around just becoming 1% better. A lot of us, we want to, or we strive to become better at things. We want to learn something, develop a skill, whatever it may be. And a lot of the times, we don't have a real solid game plan. We're just deep diving into something and we're not really focusing on the small things before we begin. So, something that I learned from a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. If you haven't picked up that book yet, I suggest you do so. It's an absolute game changer. And in the book, he has a concept of just becoming 1% better. If you can become 1% better every day, it will compound to becoming 30% better over time. That's amazing. A lot of people don't even pass 1%. Some people set New Year's resolutions saying, "Oh, I'm going to go to the gym and lose weight and blah, blah, blah." New Year comes and guess what? They buy the gym membership. By 3 weeks in, that membership's canceled or they don't even go. You know who's winning? The gym, because you're just paying your money and you're not even going to put in that work that you need to do. So first thing you want to do when trying to just become better at productivity or enhancing your skills, start small. We always think we need to go massive, but we don't. We just need to start small. Start with the small things. So for example, that he uses in the book, exercising. If you hate exercising or you just always find yourself making an excuse to exercise, start with something so small that you can't say no, I can't do it. Like even if it's exercising for like 1 minute or 2 minutes a day, that's just starting small. If you want to get better at doing push-ups, start by doing one push-up. See, and then and then gradually just progress from the one push-up. One turns into 5 push-ups. 5 push-ups turns into 10 push-ups. Whatever it may be, just start small. There's no rush into getting to that goal of doing, say, 50 push-ups. Just slow and steady, like the tortoise and the hare. You probably heard that story. Slow and steady wins the race. You don't need to go like speed ahead, and you speed ahead and then you don't end up finishing the race, right? You hit burnout. So that was the first thing that he spoke about in the book. And then the next thing is emphasize consistency. The more consistent you are building a habit, and you can definitely be able to achieve something if you just continuously just stay in motion of it. By committing and making small increments, incremental improvements each day, you can build momentum and create lasting change. It's like when you first started to learn to brush your teeth. You didn't know that you had to brush your teeth every day until your parents like drilled it into you. Go brush your teeth, go brush your teeth, brush your teeth. So the more you continuously do something, the easier it becomes and the less you got to think about it. It naturally just becomes a habit, or it becomes a routine, so to say. So think of whatever it is that you're trying to do, like brushing your teeth. You know, you got to brush your teeth every day. Sometimes, well, you should be brushing it twice a day, but many of us don't. But at least doing it once a day, like, all right, I'm going to stick with this. Hence the reason why I'm doing 75 episodes of the Learn podcast, because I want to continuously pour into myself by just being consistent about it. Like wake up, do a podcast. Wake up, do a podcast. I may scale it down to like once a week so that I can put more production behind it. But at the moment right now, I just want to make sure that I'm consistent at what I'm doing. The next thing that you want to do is you want to track your progress. So monitoring your progress can help you stay motivated and identify areas where you may need to make adjustments. Consider a habit tracker or journal to record your daily progress and celebrate small wins along the way. Small wins. When was the last time you celebrated a small win? I celebrated one last week that I literally got all this together, and I've been 3 weeks consistent in delivering episodes. That's a big milestone for me, because instead of just waiting to the end of that mountain, I'm celebrating as I'm going up the mountain, because you need to fall in love with the journey that you're on and not just the end goal. Because when you hit the end goal, you know what happens? It's done. But it's the journey that you have. That's where the magic happens. That's when you're seeing the growth inside yourself.
Is your credit score trash? Are you tired of collection agencies calling you? Are you tired of being denied bank loans and credit cards? Well, then you're in luck. I have created an ebook that will help you repair, maintain, and leverage your credit. Don't even consider filing bankruptcy before reading this book. If you struggle with fixing your credit, then this book is for you. If you struggle with increasing your credit score, then this book is for you. If you are unsure on how to leverage your credit, then this book is definitely for you.
Click the link in the bio and get the credit guide today. That's when you can be like, all right, I know it's hard, but I can keep going. I can keep going. I can keep doing it. That's the magic of celebrating the small wins. It's like the little wins add up to the big victory. For example, with basketball, you have the team that comes in first place and then the team that wins the championship, right? You worked all season to make sure that you had the best record in the NBA. That's a milestone. And now you're crowned as the number one team in your division or in whatever coast you're on. Then you go into the playoffs. Do you notice in the playoffs they celebrate the top 8 teams or 16 teams? They go to the playoffs. Then you have quarterfinals, semifinals, and then the finals. Semifinals, you play the next best team in your division, and you beat that team, you get a trophy for that. You become the Western Conference champions or the Eastern Conference champions. They're celebrating that small win before hitting the NBA championship, right? So that's the same way that you need to be treating yourself when it comes to making progress. And if you don't write down or track what it is that you're doing, how can you measure your success? It has to be written down somewhere, because if you're not tracking it, how are you going to know that you're getting better? Usain Bolt, Michael Phelps, Donovan Bailey, just Olympians. If they want to become better, they need to know how fast they ran or swam, right? And if you don't know how fast or what time you came in, how can you try to best that time that you had before? You have to track these things. So even if it's like a piece of paper that you stick on the wall, put in the washroom, go to the dollar store, buy a journal, and just start tracking your progress, so that you can see along the way. It's like, oh, I started to make bigger increments this week, or it was a little this week, but that's fine as long as you're tracking it and you're seeing that growth within yourself. Focus on the process, not just the outcome. So pretty much what I was saying before. So instead of solely focusing on achieving a specific goal, place more emphasis on the daily process of building better habits. For me, every day I'm just trying to become better with this podcast, with delivery. As you can see, I got a mic here. I got my headphones on. These are my old DJ headphones, by the way, but I plan to get new ones. Just I'm on a budget and I'm balling on a budget, but that's fine, because over time I will get better. Nothing happens overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day. The house that you're living in wasn't built in a day. Everything takes time, and with time comes growth. And I'm okay with this journey because I feel good. I'm being able to deliver this message. I'm in front of the camera, which is something that I barely used to do, and I'm finding my voice. And it's fun. Like, I'm enjoying this process. Like, my whole goal is to educate 1 million people or have 1 million subscribers on YouTube so that I can educate them on a weekly and daily basis. But I have to start somewhere. I'm at 1,000 plus subscribers, which is good. That's my first milestone. I achieved my first milestone of hitting 1,000 subscribers. My next milestone, 5,000 or 2,000, whatever it may be, and just literally just enjoying the process of me getting there. Just the little things that I can tweak here and there to make my show better. And the last is stay flexible and adaptable. Change is constant in life, and being able to adapt to new circumstances is critical in building wealth in all areas of life. Don't be afraid to adjust your habits and routines as needed to ensure you are making progress and continuing to grow. Anything can happen. Like, life is life. Like, things happen. Like, I would set out a schedule for the day, and I'm so excited to get started. And it's like, yeah, this is how my day's going. Nothing's gonna stop me. And then boom, I get hit with like a bombshell, and it's like the whole day is just all over the place. Like, things happen, and you just gotta be able to be like, all right, can't do nothing about it. Let me just move on with the rest of the day. And if you stick with those 5 things that I just mentioned to you, and just do 1%, you don't have to do 10%. So if you were doing 1 push up, you could only do 1 push up, or you can only do 1 pull up. Congratulate yourself, because you started and you attempted and you were successful. Once you hit that milestone and you celebrated, now move on and say, yo, let's try for 2. You hit the 2, celebrate, tell somebody. Do you notice how good you feel when you tell somebody about something that you feel good about? Like, let's spread that positivity instead of just always like, oh, I can't do it. Oh, I don't have the energy. Put that effort into trying. You will be surprised on the what you will be able to do. When I used to, or there's one time that I went to a boot camp with one of my friends, and when we were training, he would tell me, all right, you're gonna do, what did he use? He used 10 pull-ups and then 10 push-ups. I was like, bro, are you crazy? And he's like, yo, do it. So I was like, all right, fine. I was telling myself that I couldn't do it, but he know that I could do it. Your body knows itself better than you do. Like, if you push yourself, you will be able to achieve so much. So the moment he told me, he's like, all right, do 10 pull-ups. I'm like, all right. I did the 10 pull-ups. He's like, all right, do 10 push-ups. I was like, okay. And he's like, all right, do another 10. I was like, seriously? And he's like, yeah. So I did it. And then he's like, do another 10 push-ups. So I'm like, holy. And I think I had to do at least 4 or 5 sets. When I first began, it was very hard. Because why? My muscles weren't designed, or not designed, but I didn't put them, they weren't, what's the word I'm looking for? They weren't used to it. So, but after time, it got easier, because it's like, all right, now I'm learning to do the pull-ups. I'm eating correctly, and I'm working that muscle to become stronger. You can't become stronger by sitting down, eating potato chips, watching TV. Your muscles are not going to grow that way. You have to get in the gym, and you have to put force behind it. It's the same thing that you're learning. If you learn something that's new, it's going to make your brain work. Like, yo, why can't I get this? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Another story, when I was in college, I'm very good at math, but when I took this one course with this teacher, it was like she was speaking a totally different language to me. It was like one of the first college courses that I was actually failing. And I just couldn't get it. Like, it didn't make no sense. But instead of beating myself up, saying, all right, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to just drop out of this class, I was like, you know what, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go and get extra help from this teacher. I went from a failing mark to like, I think somewhere in like the mid 70s, because I asked for that extra help. And the moment I started to get it, it made sense. So just give yourself time. Just work on 1%, becoming 1% better each day. And if you just compound that over time, you will become 30%, 37% better than where you started. That wraps up today's episode on the Learn podcast, where first you learn and then you earn. But before we go, make sure you hit the subscribe button to join my community. And I'll see you on tomorrow's episode for episode 27.